I thought it'd be fun to do a video format to share this mini album with you. I'm gonna probably run through it a little bit quick. If you have any questions, just let me know. I just wanted to share with you that I'm not a mini album person. I don't do them. I don't honestly have a whole lot of room with the number of kids and stuff that we accumulate here. I just really loved this mixed media album when I saw it for the first time, and I loved the display that Fancy Pants had at the CHA show was all different textures and shapes, and it was chunky and, just kind of screamed, pick me up and flip through me and look and touch. And so I really wanted to get that down on a kit. So when I did this kit, the first thing that I ordered was this mini album, and I made sure that I ordered all of the different shapes that I could and mixed them up. So everybody's album is actually going to be unique because they're like everybody's printed acrylic page is going to be, a different print or a different shape, and no two albums are really going to be identical. Everybody will have 3 chipboard, 2 felt, 2 printed acrylic, and then 1 clear acrylic page. So you have the same number of pages, and they're going to be the same kinds of pages, but they're not necessarily going to be the same prints and shapes. The first thing that I did when I grabbed this album and grabbed the kit is I cut 8x8 pages or pieces from the 12x12 paper to first cover these chipboard album pages. And when I did that, I made sure that I laid it out on the part of the print that I wanted the most, to be on that page. You're not going to have to put that much thought into it because on the page starters there is a guide, a cutting guide, so you can sit down with your, I believe it was only 4 sheets of paper. You sit down with your 4 sheets of paper and you cut them out. Maybe it was 5. I apologize. You cut those papers out, and then you will have your scraps, and I even told you how I cut my scraps, and then you just assemble it. And yours are going to be different shapes. However, the cutting guide's not going to make a difference because when you cut your 8x8 pages to cover your chipboard albums, you're either going to cover a bracket and then you just have to sand down the edges like I did to finish, or you're going to be covering something that's a square page, and again you would just sand down. If your chipboard is the flower, which is the circle, you would just cut the 8x8, glue it down, and then you just have to sand around the scallops. Just to help, if you do have either the scallop or the this is an artisan or like a bracket cut. If you have one of those two, the best thing you can do is actually use sandpaper with your finger because it's not a flat surface and it's easy to use your, to use your finger and just sand that part. If you do have Basic Gray makes sanding tools, and they have they look like sticks, and they have different shapes to them, and those would be easy to get into like grooves and crevices with that set of tools. And I think you can pick them up for I want to say maybe $7 or $8. I saw them at Michael's once, but I'm not positive they would still have them. But if they don't, you can just as easily, like I said, use just regular sandpaper and just fold it when you're going into the creases. Especially with the scallop one, you'd need to get into the creases kind of tight. So just fold the sandpaper in half and drag it through there. This album, I decided to start with one of the acrylic pages. This Sunkissed, and several of the words through the album are actually cut from this paper, which was called Sunkissed. So it just had a bunch of words on it, and I just cut the words out to use them for, like titles. This rub-on is from the embellishment kit, and, I'm the queen of, I obviously from a business perspective, it'd be great if you buy the add-ons and buy all of them, but from a fellow friend scrapper, I'm all for it. If you need a rub-on here and you've got a rub-on, use it. It's it's going to look much better on your album than it does filed away in whatever organizational system that you have. So get that stuff out, use it up, add more to it, make it your own album. Every little thing that you do that's different is going to make that album that much more unique and yours. So I encourage that at all times. This is Zach, and this is Keegan, and they're sitting on a four-wheeler that is dead because we don't know where the power cord is. So they just sit on there and pretend they're going everywhere. I also wanted to share, this is my photo from the back perspective. I had that in the page starters last month, and it is just like recently one of my big things. I don't know why, but Keegan is probably the best to do it with, because every time I grab the camera he runs away anyway, so it kind of works out. So I'm not sure which came first, Mom wanting to take pictures from the back or Keegan giving me his back every time he sees the camera. So either way, we're a pair. More rub-ons, which again you could substitute. This right here is paint. This is from the crafter's kit. I did it because I wanted to add blue, but I also wanted to mask where this stuff is glued down. You could also just as easily use a scrap piece of paper, put there, add another flower to the back side to cover the flower that's on that side. You know, there's other things that you can do, but I just kind of wanted to add a little bit of blue because I thought that it kind of balanced this blue with this blue, so that's why I chose to do it that way. This is from the Novelist kit, and this pen is that precision pen in the Novelist kit, and I have to say, I did not realize how cool those pens are. That this wrote on the canvas so easily, and I can't wait to get a hold of an art journal with that pen just to see how easy it is to write on there. I just added this because I just thought it was kind of something kind of cool to put in the middle and be like a little surprise when you open the page. That is Kyle, and he is squirting Zach, and then Zach got him back over here though. This page I didn't add a lot to because of the design and the words, and I really didn't want to cover up any of these words because they really, when I was doing this page, I just felt like they really captured that page for me and kind of the whole summer, because our summer's been crazy. We've been outside so much, it's unreal. This is also from the Sun-Kissed paper, and it's part of the strip that got cut off. And you can see my ribbon is a little worse for wear. Unfortunately, I decided to share this album with my family, including Keegan, and he really likes the balls. So my page here, I didn't do a good job of protecting it, but that's okay, because I'd rather him touch it and enjoy it than it be on a shelf and pristine and perfect and nobody looking at it. So this is just ribbon, and I just did this to frame it, and that was fitting for me because that he fell in the pool, and I, instead of, you know, once he came up and was like doing the ooh face, I took a picture instead of worrying about whether or not he got any water in his nose. This is from the crafter's kit, and it's a wood flourish. I just thought it kind of looked very water-esque, and painted it blue. And this is from the stripe page, and this is scrap from one of the 8x8s. I cut the paper 8x8 so you wind up with a 4-inch across the top or bottom of the paper. I just used the back side so that you could add a little bit different color. That's kind of the unique thing about, not unique, but the cool thing about using double-sided paper is when you go through this album and you're looking at it, it's going to look like I used so much product because there's so many different patterns and colors. But I didn't. I used double-sided, so honestly, I really think it was like 4, maybe 5 sheets of paper that I used total for the whole album. And when I wound up, at the end of the day, I had 2 sheets of paper from the main kit, my transparency from the main kit, and I wound up doing a 2-page layout with those. So, I mean, I was able to do quite a bit and get this kit to go very far for me. This ribbon, I just added this. This paper here for the background actually is only 4 inches, but I used some of the stripes from the stripe paper to kind of, you know, give the illusion that it's bigger so that I could mat the photo with it, rather than have it be the exact same size as the photo. And I didn't want to cut the photo down because it is, you know, such a tight shot of him. I didn't want to lose any of the sippy cup or any of his forehead. This was just a garment pen, and I bought this actually, and this is why it's not in the kit listing. I didn't order it to sell it to you guys. I actually just went out and bought it and thought it was just very cool to stick on the felt pages and use to pin something on there. So I threw a couple in everybody's main kit, so you'll have one of those to play with. And the other cool thing you can do with it is use it to hook something here. So you could just as easily, you know, pin it around one of these binders so that you can, you know, have